Gabriel's here, and he is a recent winner in our film festival. Congratulations.
Thank
Best
you.
horror thriller sci-fi. And then, dude, you get to win a little producer's pick package. What the heck?
A little producer's pick is a bit of an understatement. Yeah, we're incredibly thrilled and honored with, everything that entails. And I mean, ever since then, it's been just a fever dream of bringing this project to life every day, bit by bit. So
Yeah, dude.
super excited.
I'm excited as well. I mean, we
Yeah.
get to bring your short film and develop it into a feature and bring Best Kept Shut, if that continues to be the working title for the feature as well. Super excited, and we get to develop it with you and have it premiere on Momi 2 next year. How exciting.
Yep.
Dude, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
The next year is going to be awesome. We're going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to get back to kind of our normal programming here and talk a little bit about you. That's why we have you here. We can talk about your film all we want, but I think our listeners would like to get to know who Gabriel Lopez is, or who Gabriel Felipe Lopez is, or Gabriel Felipe Lopez.
Oh.
We had multiple takes. That was a lot of fun. Where are you from, dude? Like, where'd you grow up? And tell us a little about maybe who you were as a kid too.
Yeah, I would love to. I'm from South Florida, so I'm about 30 minutes north of Miami is where I'm from originally. And in that area, I would say growing up, there wasn't much of a creative industry around me. So, my parents were doctors and dentists, my family. And so, growing up, I was always into telling stories, writing stories, whether it was like comic books I would draw and show up to school with and share with my classmates. It was just always an outlet for me to kind of like express my creativity. It's always just been how I've interpreted the world around me. And so, that eventually evolved, that love for visual storytelling, into a love for filmmaking in middle school. And then going into high school, I could talk more about that. But essentially just like having to carve my own path within this community that didn't really have space for creatives, just always kind of having to like fend for, film as like an actual creative industry. And then eventually taking me to college, where I pursued filmmaking at Ringling College of Art and Design, and taking me to Momi 2 and beyond.
The Momi 2 and beyond.
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear. Let's go. So you're younger. What were kind of your influences? Like, what were those movies you remember when you were a kid and that kind of really stuck out to where like you're like, yeah, I could do that. I want to make a filmmaker. Like, what were those? I mean, I know there's probably maybe a handful of titles that you can think of off the top of your head right now.
Yeah. For me, I always cite going to the theaters and seeing Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity in 2013 in 3D, and being like, having my eyes open and being like, whoa, like this is what films can do. Like, they can use genre to explore themes. That for me is like the film that I always cite as like the one that opened my eyes. But then in middle school, like I had a Nolan phase, I had a Tarantino phase. And then, going into high school and college, for me, it was more like trying to find like some of the classics, like Kurosawa, like, hate to say it, but like The Godfathers, like those are classics. Yeah.
I hate to say that. Shouldn't hate to say that. Come on now. No, that's cool. Actually, it almost seems like your influence is like, even though like I'm sure individual films influence you, it's really more like the directors that influenced you. Is that kind of like why you wanted to become a director then? I mean, that's
interesting. Like I never made that connection, but yeah, for me I always found it so interesting how directors can make like entirely different projects, but you can still see their fingerprints on them.
Yeah.
So, like Kubrick made The Shining, and then he made Full Metal Jacket. And those are two completely different ends of the spectrum, But when you watch those films, you see his fingerprints on it. Jordan Peele is like a contemporary director who I also love because he's all of his films like have like that distinct Jordan Peele tone. He's 3 movies in. We all know that it's going to be a bit of like social commentary, a bit of horror, a bit of comedy. But for me, that's what I've always loved about, or at least the directors that I love the most are the ones that can, you can watch their films without seeing their name on it, and you can be like, oh, I know that this was made by them.
For sure. Like, a Tarantino film. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's like without question, that's a Tarantino film. No, that's really cool. I mean, I'm glad that you could, or I can help you put those dots together. I mean, connect the dots there. That's cool. Thanks for spending your time with us today on the More For Me and You podcast. If you've made it to the end, we appreciate you. Now, go do us a quick favor. Please like, comment, and share this episode. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode with the incredible guests we have coming up. You can also follow us at Momi2 Podcast on Instagram and on TikTok. Oh, and for your next movie night, check out the Momi2 app. It's free and packed with amazing movies and shows you've probably never seen. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the pod.